Caller, and I appreciate very much the opportunity to speak on this most important motion. I want to thank our whip, Deputy Matty McGrath, also Triona and David in his office, for the research work that they put into bringing forward this very important item to discuss here in the Dáil. And I really think that at the outset, Minister, I want to thank everyone who contributed here tonight. But when I look around the room and when I see Deputy Bobby Aylward has just left, but I want to thank him for being here up until now, because besides yourself, Minister, and the group of us that are putting it forward, I'd ask anybody to look around and talk then about rural crime. Talk about what's happening in our countryside where old people are being terrorised in their own homes, and look around and see how serious the other deputies are taking this. They're not taking it very seriously at all. This is a very important motion, I really believe. I believe that highlighting this issue, the things that we are seeking to do for the future, for the protection of our most vulnerable people, this is not just 100% about rural crime, but it is an awful lot to do with rural crime. You were speaking a while ago about statistics, and I'd like to just give you this statistic in a simple way that I carried out myself. There were 9 people that I knew personally who were the victims of crime. I'll tell you what type of crime. One person, the windscreen of the car broken and items taken from inside in the car. Another person, the oil in the tank, not diesel oil for agricultural use, but the home heat oil taken. Just give you examples. I rang the 9 of them and I said, just a simple thing. I'll never divulge your names, but I just want to know, did you report the crime to the Gardaí or not? And out of the 9, 2 had reported it. So you tell me then, and I do not blame our Gardaí when I hear them coming out, and when I hear senior Gardaí coming out and saying, well look, this is the way we're combating crime and figures are decreasing. To be honest, and it's no disrespect to the guards, they're going on false information, because I would go so far as saying that the majority of crime is not reported in Ireland. And you as a minister, or the senior minister for justice, you're shooting in the dark because you're not being given the information. I would always, and I know that my colleagues in the rural group, we would always encourage our constituents to report every crime, because how can we then adequately say that we need more resources in rural areas if we're not proving that the crimes are being committed? It's the same thing as our local authority. How can Kerry County Council put in applications for funding for an accident-prone spot unless we're reporting when the car hits the ditch or when 2 cars collide because of a dangerous camber on a road? How can we adequately seek funding unless the incidents are being reported? So we were very anxious, our group. It was a unanimous decision that we wanted to use our very valuable time to discuss this on behalf of the people that we're sent up here, and we're very proud to be here to talk up for people, whether they're from Village Island or whether they're from North Kerry, South Kerry, West Kerry. My job is to be here to support them. And as late as every night of the week when we're out, we're meeting people who are afraid to be inside in their own homes. There was a time when if you were inside in a house and if you heard a rattle outside in a yard or a car or somebody coming, you'd have a smile on your face because you'd be saying, who's coming now? And is there some bit of gossip? Is there some bit of a racket? Is there some bit of a story that I'm going to be told tonight? Or what bit of entertainment is coming? Yes, or it could be somebody calling that would be delighted to see. But the thing about it is we're gone to the stage now that if there's people inside in the yard, outside in the yard making noise, the people inside are afraid, because it's a case of, oh my goodness, who is this? Whose noise is that outside? Is this an unwelcome person coming now that we're afraid of, especially for older and vulnerable people? When our people get older, the more respect day by day they should be given by all of us. because we adored them. We're so glad to have had them. The people that we've lost and the people that are left, we want to hold on to them for as long as at all possible. We want for their time to be on this earth to be happy, safe and comfortable and with no stress or duress, especially at the end of their days. How can we say that to people? And I want to change it a little bit now, in that we're not just 100% concentrating on rural areas. What about the people that are living in our larger towns and who, when they lock the door, they don't want to hear anybody coming because they're afraid of who's coming? And they could be people living where people are to the left-hand side of them, the right-hand side of them and across the road. But they're still afraid because of nasty things that have happened in their localities. And then it comes on to the next thing, Minister, and this is where you and your government have so much to play. When people get caught, and of course everybody has their own thing, but when people get caught having hurt or broken into or threatened violence on older people, for God's sake, the punishments aren't half enough for that type of crime. Because I unfortunately can remember one instance where two elderly brothers were held up. The two of them are gone to their eternal reward now. But in a certain location, one of them was a bigger man and the other one was a smaller man. The bigger man was tied to a chair, and the people that went into his house late at night, they beat him continuously until the smaller man was made tell where they had a little couple of pounds saved and they had it inside in their house. And those two people, I'm sad to say, never again slept a night inside in their house. Their own house, where they had grown up as two small boys that were farming, and they lived all their lives, and they were hunted out of their house by thugs, by the scum of society. That I unfortunately have to tell you, they were never caught for that crime. They never gave 1 hour behind bars for what they did to those two lovely men. And it's things like that upset every person. And we needn't be a politician to be upset when we hear stories like that. And we've seen it happening where elderly ladies are inside in their houses and where people break in and demand money with menace or steal their goods. That should not be tolerated in the Ireland that we are living in today. Because whatever about any other type of thing that will happen, but where older people are hurt or threatened, and when these people are caught, we have to look at the sentencing, we have to look at the punishment. There is no dread on these people. There is no, it's the same thing for people who are pushing out drugs. There's no deterrent because they're not afraid. I said it earlier on today on the plinth when Deputy McGrath organised a press conference to highlight what we were doing here tonight. I thanked very much, and I don't care whether they were Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin, Labour, every one of them, the deputies that were inside here after the awful event of Veronica Guerin being shot. When every one of you came in here and you threw off your political colours and every one of you put your shoulder to the wheel and he changed laws immediately. He brought in CAB, one of the most successful and useful things that we had in tackling organised crime. Unfortunately, it's not enough. Drugs are still coming into this country. But when we look at the vast coastline that we have, and when we look at the very small amount of policing that's put into our coastline, it's no wonder that drugs are coming into the country. But I compliment the politicians of that time and the general public that supported them in ensuring that more stringent rules came into place. And yes, a lot of these bully boys, they were hunted down. The smart big men with the big swaggers on them, when they were going around thinking that they could kill a journalist like that in broad daylight, not far from where we are here tonight. Well, the smile was put on the other side of those little worms' faces when they were hunted down out in their big fancy places out in Spain, and when they were dragged back in here, and when they were taken before the courts, and the dirty little horrible people that they were put into jail, and they gave a long time. They saw that their assets were stripped and taken from them, were sold off, and respectable people were able to buy them. And you know, the only thing I can say to those people, to hell with them, and they may rot inside in hell along with the other people who are after our older people at present, because we have no sympathy whatsoever for them. I want to thank very much my colleagues in the rural group, but the one thing that I'm disappointed with, Minister, is the fact that you're not supporting it in its entirety. Coming along tonight and putting forward an amendment is only messing with it, and you're not giving it the serious consideration that we believed it deserved. We're not coming here tonight in a political way or in an adversarial way with the government. All we're saying is, for God's sake, there's a lot of things wrong and we want them to be addressed. We want to work with you, not against you on this, but unfortunately, we're not going against you, but you're going against us by bringing forward a counter motion. To be honest, as far as I can see, you're only doing it just for the sake of doing it. I want to compliment the Gardaí in County Kerry for the sterling work that they are doing with the limited resources. And yes, it is right to say they're being put on the wrong track, because all they're being told now from on high is bag people for the bag, and whatever you do, give your time to that, instead of being able to give their time to fighting rural crime, which is what we want them to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.